All right, guys, how is everybody doing today? Time to get this party started. Just making sure that we are all up and running and live on YouTube. That is looking good so far. Can you see my screen? Okay, it doesn't look like you can see my screen yet, so let me make sure that you can see it. Resume share. Okay, give me 1 second here. Let me stop sharing and then let's reshare this. Gonna get the recording started. All right. Okay. Oh, screen is paused. How do we unpause the screen? Give me 2 seconds here. Just minor technical difficulties. And let's choose a different one to share. There we go. All right, everybody. Hope you're having a wonderful week so far. Today, what we are going to be covering is a continuation from last week. Last week, Joseph went over some aspects about building the credibility of your business and dove into your name, your address, setting up your legal entity. So we're going to just actually continue on from that was started last week. And you guys still can't see my screen. All right, let's make sure that, let's see here. Try this one more time to make sure that you can see what I'm doing. Screen one, share this. Perfect. Let's do that. That should work. All right, everybody. So what you're seeing here on the screen is our business credit builder, and I'm basically going to use this to walk you through the process of building business credit. My name is Ray Fleming. I'm one of the wise guys in ties. And as you go into our system, basically continuing through the business credit builder aspect, you're going to see that we have basically broken down how to build business credit into 7 easy steps. And we're continuing on the business credibility, the foundational step 1 process. So like I said, last week we went through business name, went through business address, business entity, the structuring. Let's talk about the EIN number. Why is it actually important to have an EIN number? So this is step 1.4 in the process. So you need to have an EIN because this really is the tax ID number for your business. This is the way that the IRS can track you, and it's similar to your personal Social Security number. Now, if you don't really have one, you can click here in our builder, and this will actually take you right to the IRS website. It just depends on how you've actually gone about setting up your business. If you were using, an independent resource like My Corporation, LegalZoom, something like that, where you had to do a lot of your groundwork, then you're going to do this yourself. If you're more like myself, who this is not my expertise as far as like the actual legal setup, that's why I hire attorneys to do that for me. If you need a reference to an attorney's office that is small business minded, real estate investment minded, I use a company called KKOS. They're hands down the best ones I've ever worked with so far, and been working with them for several years. So KKOS attorneys, Matt Sorensen, Mark Kohler, absolutely amazing individuals. So if you're going to be doing it yourself, though, you're going to have to go over to the IRS and pull or actually request an EIN number for your business, because this is going to be an absolute crucial step in the building of your business. This is really how the accounts are going to be tracked. Since if you're not wanting to intermix your personal Social Security number, then you're going to have a tax ID number that you can actually start to build credit on. And your EIN is going to be that first number that is really going to help you establish and grow your business credit. Now, so this is step 1.4 in the process. And if you look here on the right-hand side, as we move on to step 1.5, this is business phone number and the 401 listing. So as you're in our system, what's really neat is we have different training videos that talk about, the importance of this step and why this is important, or why this matters to the business credit building process. We also have a couple resources for you on the end of each page. We have no affiliation with these companies, but Vonage, Freedom Voice, RingCentral, we give you a little assortment so you can pick and choose, see what price works and the features that work right for your situation. But we've used these companies with success. We tend to use Freedom Voice more. Something that you need to remember with Freedom Voice. If you're going to need a local number for your business, because the local numbers are the ones that are going to actually get listed in the 411 directory. You're going to have yourself listed in the national 411, and they will only list the business numbers. So you're going to not want to submit a cell phone number. You're not going to want to submit your Google Voice number. You could, but it's going to come back to bite you. You're going to need to get a phone number that's actually registered to your business. For example, if you were to call me on that number, you want it to come up as your business, so that the actual registration of that phone number is to your business. Next, once you have that good phone number, you're going to want to submit it to the national 411 directory. And then we have it here. After you actually submit it to your 411 directory, it asks you, does your business have a phone number? Great. Creditors prefer to see actual business phone numbers as opposed to personal cell phone numbers or residential phones. It's important to also list your business phone number with the National 411 directory, which can be done in this step. To check your 411, you're going to call whatever local area code you have, input that in. Like my local area code is 520. So I would literally dial 520-555-1212. Depending on who your phone carrier is, you might have some charges that apply, but this is going to be a operator that answers, and they're basically like asking you what the name is, and they're just going to confirm the listing, and they'll say it either is or is not in their listing. So it's a quite easy step, but it does take time. So once you actually submit the 411, sometimes it takes only a week. It can take up to 30 days though. So it just depends, but we have it all built into our system where you're able to do this in one step right here with us. After you make sure you have a good phone number and you're in the 411 listing, then the next thing you want to start to really work through is your website and your email address. Now, there's not necessarily, you don't actually have to have a website, but nowadays it's really important that you're out there in the world for everybody to see. It's a huge level of credibility, but also what's very important is, just as a website can help you build business credit, your website can hurt you in the business credit building process. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, there's the 5 major factors that go into building your business credit. The big 3 are cash flow, collateral, and credit. Accessing lines of credit, accessing loans, you're going to need the full trifecta. The great thing about working with us is you can do it with just business credit. You can do it with just having collateral. You can do it with just cash flow. So that's really important to understand as well. Now, as we are moving through this process, let's take a look at the website. Now, this training here talks about the website, and it's going to talk about the important features of your website. One thing that is very important to understand is that as you are building a website, you want to be able to have all of your information correct, because potential lenders, they could verify your information through your Facebook, your website, your Instagram, your LinkedIn. They could, depending on their system cross-references and checks for the other 2 categories. I talked about 5, cash flow, collateral, and credit. The other is capacity and character. These are things that we really work on in the first 2 steps, is building up the character aspect, because nobody wants their business to have some character issues. And that sounds really bad, but what is if you think about a person with character issues, what does that mean? Well, they may come across as not necessarily trustworthy. They may be, self-serving, deceitful, and that's somebody that would have a character issue. So What does that mean if your business has a character issue? Well, let's say that you are claiming to be, um, let's say that you do social media advertising, but when they go to your website, it's actually a capture page for distressed homeowners to sell their properties to you in foreclosure, because you also do real estate investing. That creates a character issue because you're saying you're one thing, but you're actually doing another. Because if you go back to the beginning step of our business name, you didn't want to let them know that you were in real estate because it is a high risk industry. That unfortunately is going to create some red flags. Another thing that can create a red flag on your website is not having the proper contact information. It's like, well, I'm using my home address for my business, which, you can do, but then you got to think about, are you going to want to be putting that address everywhere online? Because if you're going to be out there online, you're going to need it to match. And that's going to become a character issue if all of a sudden what's on the legal documents is different than what you're putting out there to the world. Lenders in their system and their computer algorithms that will run a check on you, they create that as a character issue. Well, they're basically in the mind of a lender, the lender thinks, well, if you don't really tell us where you are, or it's actually confusing where you're located, I don't feel so comfortable about lending you money. This is very important to understand because I'm guilty as charged of this, where when I was using my home address for my business, I didn't want it to be out there. I didn't want people knowing exactly where I lived, especially back when I had a landscaping business. I didn't want people knowing where my trailers and my equipment were. And, it's at the house, it's in the front yard. People could come by there and steal the stuff. People could come by looking for work. And that actually used to happen. So it was one of those things that I wasn't trying to be deceitful in any way, shape, or form, but I didn't want my information out there. And so that's when it came down to, what is a good business address? And if you missed last week's, you can review it on YouTube. You can review last week's mastermind that we did on building business credit, where we covered the name, address, setting up your entity. And so now today, if you're just hopping in on us, this is the continuation of last week. So do you have your website? It's going to be important that you have your business domain. So you're going to want to get yourbusiness.com, yourbusiness.net, whatever your business name is. See if you can capture that domain. Most of the time you can with little tweaks, unless your business is called Walmart, or it's a very popular business. You can always do little tweaks to it. For example, let's say your business is RF Industries, okay? That could be somebody else. I guarantee you somebody else has that business name. And they may have already used that website. But you could do RF Industries, AZ if you're located in Arizona, or CA if you're in California, or you could do RF Industries LLC, or depending on your marketing ability. Some folks in their business name, which is something else we can cover, they use a generic business name. So I always recommend you use something that doesn't pigeonhole you. So RF Industries is fantastic, because just hearing that business name, you don't know exactly what that is. But let's say that you are a bakery and you plan on eventually, maybe having some bakeries or a food line or something like that. Your general business name could be RF Industries, but that's when you would work on setting up a DBA. So doing business as. So you could RF Industries, but you're doing business as Sally's Beautiful Cakes. And so you could get sallysbeautifulcakes.com, but you could also have RF Industries. Now on your credit applications, you're going to be using the RF Industries, but you won't necessarily need a website. But if you're going to have the website, make sure that everything matches. If you're going to have the Facebook, make sure everything matches: your phone number, your address, your email address. Now, this is one thing you are going to need because it's going to be important for your credit applications. You're going to need that rfindustries.com, because you're going to need it for your email address. You're going to actually need a professional email address. So maybe if it was me, you know, ray@rfindustries.com, or, you know, admin. You can never go wrong with admin@rfindustries or yourbusiness.com. You can never go wrong with info. These are kind of standard practice now. Or what's another great one I like? Team is a good one. You know, your first initial, your last name. You don't want to do anything goofy though, but just something that looks professional and that is usable. So we got your email, which is important. You got your website, which is important. Now, as you're going through this process, there's a couple of other resources that we have for you. So Squarespace, Space, Google Apps, and Jet Digital Marketing. So if you're like, well, how can those help me? Well, if you go to like Jet Digital Marketing, it really helps you optimize your website and your digital presence. And so you can go through here and request a consultation from Jet. Now, what's really cool about that is using Jet can actually help you build your business credit. That's why we actually incorporate these, because these are companies that not all the time, but for example, Jet is one of them, but not all of the time are they going to actually report on your business credit, but some of them do. And that's when we have opportunities like that, we want to let you know about that. So as you're going through the process, making sure that you have your domain name, you have your email address set up, that's going to be very, very important for you. Now, as we move on to step 1.7 in the process, let's talk about business license. Business license, this is actually a crucial step because many folks, you know, they're like, oh, well, I don't need a business license. Are you sure? You may need a little license from your city, your state, your county, your, you know, just to be operating as a business. And it may only be a small $25 a year fee. This happens a lot when folks, you know, they're like, it doesn't really matter. Okay, actually down the line though, if you are required to have some type of licensing and it's not current or updated, that could create a denial. One of the things that I see commonly is, say I'm working with a contractor and you need to be licensed and bonded, you know, in order to really grow your contractor lines of credit. Now, by doing so, it happens. You guys move around, you know, moved from this house and now we got a little yard that we got our equipment in, and we never updated all the information, still using our PO box address. These actually can create issues because many of as we start to progress into the level of accounts and we're looking at vehicle financing, we're looking at fleet credit, we're looking at actual cash credit where you're getting Visas, MasterCards, American Expresses, they're going to be running checks and to see really if your business registration is lining up with where you're saying you're located. Remember, these things are not done by hand. These checks are done through the individual lender's algorithms. Really everything underneath $150,000 is an instant, you know, approval. It may require extra, it's either an instant approval or denial. Some companies have, you know, their credit department, and they basically are going to input your information and run it through their own system checks. That's why it's so important to have all these foundational aspects set up properly, that there's no spelling errors in any of these areas, that every address everywhere matches perfectly, because you actually don't know how deep their underwriter actually goes. It's very, very easy to build little check systems, which actually is one of the systems that they use. They use the checks system, which we will dive into in a little bit later in another mastermind. But they go through these processes of running a check and a verification, because the biggest problem that lenders have is theft, is people who are out there and being dishonest and trying to just take. So they have to set up extra precautions to verify your credibility. By doing these things, by spending money on an email address, by spending money on a phone number, you know, your email, I know some guys that are able to do it for free, you know, because they integrate it with their website. Some use Google G Suite, their business email service. That's $5 to $10 a month. We also, there's GoDaddy that you can use. What are some of the other services? If you're using a phone number, some of those services are only $10 a month. They're going to be a cost to your business, but it's better that you spend the money where you need to spend it in the beginning to make sure you don't have to go back later and correct these issues. So once you have gone and checked with your city, your state, making sure you don't need a business license, you can search for license requirements right here. If you go through our system, then it's going to take you to the US Small Business Administration website, which is a phenomenal resource for you to do your own homework on your specific industry and where you're located. So we have everything very easy for you to just plug in and go. So we don't want you to have to run around and search for it. There's city applications that is also a phenomenal service that you can use that does cost additional money, but it's one of those things that you're going to spend money in the upstart of your business. Folks that go out there and try to build business credit on their own end up placing orders. I've seen people spend as much as $2,000 and not have a single account report. And they are like, well, I spent $50 at all these different accounts that could extend me these beginner trade lines, these net 30 accounts. And I'm like, that's fantastic. Yeah, there's hundreds of thousands of companies out there that provide net 30 accounts, that have net 55 accounts, that have store credit. But the question is, are they reporting? Because 90% of businesses out there actually don't report positive activity. It's only the small fraction, actually it's 7% of companies right now are actually reporting positive activity. And they don't necessarily all do it every month. Some do it quarterly, some do it by yearly, some do it every month. Some have requirements on needing to season the account for 90 days, which all of that we're going to cover in a later day, but I just want to really dive in deep through each step of the process. That's why you're going to want to make sure that you have registered for this webinar, because each week you will get a Zoom reminder, and this comes out at 12 p.m. Pacific time. And every single week, that's what we're doing. We're just building on this. Now you can just keep following along with us, and as you implement these strategies for your business, and let's say you miss a week, you can always go back to YouTube and watch the recording on the wiseguysandties YouTube page. So after you run through the process of really diving in deep and making sure that you've covered yourself on the business license, the last aspect that we want to cover today is your business bank account. This is step 1.8 in your business credit building process. So do you have a business bank account? And I ask you that with all seriousness, because I know folks, especially coming from the landscaping world and the contracting world, most are doing it in their personal name, doing it in cash, under the table, because they think that they're going to save money. It actually is really going to hurt you. I didn't understand that before. I'm like, oh, well, I don't want to have to pay taxes. Well, being a business owner is the cheapest way to pay taxes, and the government actually rewards you for being a profitable business. It is ridiculous how much you can actually write off as a small business owner. Now, if you're interested in tax savings, things like that, we have so many trainings that we can plug you into. You can always reach out to us at wiseguysandties.com, set up a consultation on your business, because are we going to help you build your business credit? Yeah, but we can also get you resources to attorneys, to trainings from CPAs, where you can learn about tax savings. Absolutely. This is not just business credit. There's a whole world of business out there. And if we know of a resource that could help you out, we'll plug you into that. But what we're focusing on, is really helping you get your business up and running so you can go out there and do what you need to do. So let's get back to your business bank account. A business, whether you're big or small, new or established, should set up a business bank account. A bank account opens up financial options. Now, when you open up your bank account, you've got to remember that future lending is going to be looking at what you do today. So you want to be very, very careful and not run into NSF fees, so insufficient fund fees, overdrafts. You don't want to run into, you want to be making sure that you have positive ending balances, that you're making deposits, that you're actually out there doing business. Now, if you're still in startup mode, that's okay. But still, you want to start generating revenue, because the thing from the IRS's perspective is they give you a certain time frame for you to start generating revenue before they really classify you as a hobby. Now, I'm not a CPA, I'm not an attorney, but like I said, I have those professionals on our team, and I recommend that you do too. It's very important to understand taking care of your business banking now for when you need it. It's almost like digging your well before you're thirsty. All of these aspects are going to be the foundational building. If you look at a house, and if you built the house on sand, it's going to crumble. But if you've built your business on a solid foundation, then you're going to be able to get the funds that you need. I also recommend you doing this, especially if you're in the startup mode. Give us a call and let's come up with a good plan for you to move forward effectively. Also, what if you already have a business already established and now you need to go back and correct some things? That's okay. But either way, you got to get it done if you plan on getting some serious funding in the future. Now, how do you actually get a hold of us? Well, if you go over to Wise Guys in Ties, so wiseguysinties.com, and oops. And if you can spell it right, to ties, so only one T in ties. There we go. And you'll notice it when our little widget guy pops up. That's our little owl guy. He's our mascot. This is Widget. So you can come to our page. The great thing is this converts to Spanish. Also, the entire Business Credit Builder program that we have converts to Spanish. Now you can go here and with just your email address, you can grab a 4-step guide to building business credit. You also can read any of our latest articles. We are pumping out articles literally daily. This is phenomenal. So all you have to do is click here, and it'll take you to, this is part 4. And we got some serious content that we're dropping out for you guys. We're putting our best stuff out. We're just really hitting it hard. And then of course you can schedule a free 30-minute consultation. Very simple for you to do. It takes us right to the calendar, and you're like, well, I got some time on Friday. Look, so we got some slots here, and you just let's say you're in Hawaii. You're like, well, oh, so these are the times that are available for me for where I'm located. And boom, we just get you scheduled right there. Let's say you want to get the 9 a.m. You confirm that. All you need is your name, your email, your phone number, and then just let us know exactly how we can help you. And boom, you're done. You're going to get an email reminder, and then we're going to call you at that time. Very, very simple to do. And also, so other resources that you can find on our website, if you don't want to necessarily schedule it, you say you can't find a time that works. You're like, I work 24 hours, Monday through Friday. There's absolutely no time. Is there any way I can do a Saturday? Well, depending on the situation, we can make exceptions. So in that case, then you'd want to put your name and your number in here and tell us exactly what it is. Or say you found us through something else. Hey, I want to know more about taxes. I want to know more about, some of the other stuff you guys talk about, the credit banking, or I want to know about this or this. Let us know this, and then one of our representatives will call you and schedule that time and really tailor it to your needs. You can always get help here through the live chat. Also, as we have more in-depth articles, business credit, and then you can see what our clients say. If you want some business credit reviews, here's some word ones, but people are like, yeah, well, did you just write that in? Well, not necessarily. You can actually go here and play video, client reviews. So we have several video client reviews, and we have even more if you need more. But we got a whole lot on here for you to take advantage of. There's other resources giving you more in-depth. That's just on the very first page, guys. So we got other stuff for you. If you want to know about pricing, if you want a full walkthrough of our business credit builder, you can go over to our pricing page here. and see all the different aspects of the Business Credit Builder. But other than that, just wanted to spend 30 minutes of the time today, folks, going through some foundational aspects about building your business credit. Make sure you get subscribed to this Zoom recording, this webinar, so next week we can continue to build on the process. We finished off with business licensing today, but next week we're going to wrap up the whole credibility aspect and make sure you have all your foundational steps to start moving forward to the next process, which is going to be setting up your business credit reporting agencies. Crucial for your business. Let me just make sure I don't have any questions coming in. Perfect. Other than that, you folks go out there, build a business, contact us, see how we can help you. But other than that, I wish you guys all the success in the world. Good afternoon, good evening, and God bless.